Hello, my name is Alan Kelly and I'm going to talk about the business case for Agile in 2020. I think it's important to talk about this because I don't think the business case in 2020 is the same as the business case for Agile when Agile first appeared in 2001. I don't think the business case for Agile is the same as even 10 years ago. I think the world has changed, we've moved on, and we need to look again at the business case for Agile. A lot of things that we used to say are good for Agile are still true, but things have changed. Just about me, if you've not come across me before, my name's Alan Kelly. I call myself an Agile guide. That means I'm a mix of an Agile coach, an Agile consultant, I'll give you advice, an Agile trainer, whatever. My mission is to help software professionals, teams and enterprises enhance their agility in a digital world. Yes, Agile works in other domains. I've worked with other domains, however I know most about software. And when I'm not doing that, I write books. I've written several books, so take your pick. The book this relates most closely to is Continuous Digital. Right. Once upon a time, say 10 years ago, if you'd asked me about the business case for Agile, I would say Agile is better because Agile produces results sooner. Ideally, Agile produces results after 2 weeks of working. Could be less, but 2 weeks is a good point to aim for. The way Agile works is it gives you a little bit of what you want early, and then it gives you a little bit more shortly afterwards, typically 2 weeks. And you continue to get a little bit often. You get regular deliveries. And when I say deliveries, I mean deliveries to production, releases to your customers. Not a whole bunch of changes that are batched up and put into a UAT environment for several months and then released to customers a few months later. No. Agile gives you a little bit of what you want early and continues to give you a little bit more of what you want every 2 weeks or so. And because you get early delivery, because you get early use of this product, you get early benefits. And one of the side effects of early benefits is you get early feedback. Customers tell you what they think of the product. Users who have to use your product can tell you how useful it really is, how well it works, how well it doesn't work. You can understand the team, how well the team are working. You can understand your problems better because you get a little bit early and get a little bit often, again and again and again. You get feedback, and feedback helps you produce better results. So Agile is better because you get results sooner. Of course, you don't get everything. Well, it's not quite that good, but you get a little something. And as a result of getting a little bit early, your return on investment rockets. Because Agile gives you a little bit early, you get to use a little bit early. Your customers get to pay for a little bit early. The benefits of having a little something start to come sooner. And if you do ROI calculations in the proper way, and when I say proper, what I mean is you account for time. You don't simply say cost and benefit at the end, but you look at your cash flows over time. You do a proper NPV or IRR calculation, take your pick. Because those benefits come sooner, you start to get better. Because the benefits come sooner, you've got positive cash flow if you're selling something, you've got increased savings, your savings sooner, the benefits start sooner. And when you do an ROI calculation, that causes your ROI to rocket. It makes a vast difference. So Agile will make you more money. That also means, by the way, that this question you sometimes come across where people say, is this project better for Agile or Waterfall? Which is it more suitable for? It's not an important question. The real question is, which will make me more money? And then you work out how you're going to do it. Okay? So that's the second reason Agile is better. The third reason Agile is better is because it reduces risk. Traditional ways of working tended to tail load risk. They tended to push risk back towards the end of the work. Specifically, the day testing began. When testing began, that was when the problems start to emerge. Everything can look hunky-dory when you're just running along creating initial versions, coding, but when you start testing, that's when you see what works and what doesn't. Traditional working pushed that to the end. Agile pulls that forward. You're releasing a little bit, so you're doing a little bit of testing. You're constantly doing a little bit of testing. As a result, the risks are brought forward, your problems are brought forward, you get to address those things when you have more time. And you're able to change, you're able to duck and dive, you're able to compensate where those risks do pan out. But while some of the Agile tools will just reduce risk in and of themselves, most of the Agile tools help you see problems, help you see risks, and therefore, because problems are appearing earlier, things can look worse before they look better. So often when you move from a traditional style of working to an Agile style of working, things look better because all those problems you've been ignoring or pushing into the distance or whatever, suddenly they're in your face and you've got to deal with them. So yes. Number 4, Agile's better for the business because it increases predictability. And some of you, I'm sure, are a little bit surprised to hear me say that. Agile doesn't work the way traditional working works, where you get what looks like a schedule, what looks like predictability, and then you miss the dates. Agile actually has predictability, but Agile's honest enough to say, in the beginning, we don't really know. So I'm going to caveat this. Agile increases predictability when it's done right. There's countless ways of doing Agile wrong, and they are no more predictable than the traditional way of working. However, in the traditional way of working, we pretended we had predictability. We sometimes call it illusion of control. In an Agile style working, you will have predictability when you follow the practices properly and when you're doing things the way Agile intends to. I get a bit fed up of people I meet who say, we're Agile, so we can't tell you when it'll be done. I think that's a bit of a lie, and it demonstrates a shallow understanding of the Agile toolset. There are tools in the Agile toolset to make you very predictable, to help you predict. And Agile is absolutely brilliant at hitting deadlines. So, faced with someone saying Agile can't be predictable, it can't tell you when it's being done, I think there's something wrong there. Agile can be more predictable, and that's a good business reason to follow Agile. And this might be a surprise to you, but the secret's in the name. Agile allows more flexibility. Again, because of the way Agile works, while it pulls testing forward, it pushes some other decisions back. And that means you aren't paying for those decisions until you get there, which means Agile has less of a sunk cost problem, which increases your flexibility. And because the way we build software in Agile expects people to change their mind, we have more flexibility. So Agile allows decisions to change. And we know from financial options theory that options to do things are worth money. So once again, by being more flexible, by allowing decisions to change, Agile will make you more money. Thus, for much of the last 20 years, we've been saying traditional ways of working are not very happy, and Agile style ways of working result in a better end. So this is still true. This is still true. But that was then. This is now. And I think one very important thing has changed in our world. IT is dead. I'm not disputing that. I'm sure a few of you watching this work in an IT department. And I'm sure even more of you used to work in a department inside an organization called IT. But for the 3, 4, 5 decades that IT departments have existed, they have predominantly been cost centers. They've been add-ons to the business. They've been a supporting function. That world is gone. Today, it's digital. Everything has moved forward. Our businesses cannot be separated from our technology. The business is the technology, and the technology is the business. I think many of us from a technology background have underestimated what this means, this word digital. If you're like me, when I first started hearing people talk about digital 6, 7, 8 years ago, I thought, why are people wasting their breath? Those steam computers never caught on anyway. So of course it's digital. What I only appreciated later on was that digital's not a word that those of us from a technology background use much. But when it's used by people from outside a technology background, what they are saying is their world now looks like our world. What they are saying is the world we technologists have taken for granted for decades. Their world, HR, accounts, logistics, marketing, whatever it is, their world is now being changed by digital technology. And by digital technology, yes, the computers it runs on is digital, But really what they're saying is the software. You could pretty much substitute the word software for digital, and digitization could be substituted by softwareization. We're turning processes, we're turning methods of working into software, and we're running them on digital computing, and that changes everything. We can now have completely new business models. We can have startups challenging large incumbents. We can rethink the ways we work because of digital. And us from a technology background often underappreciate the difference here. This is how I would summarize the difference. We're talking about the difference between the world of IBM PCs, and even before that IBM mainframes if you prefer, and the world of the iPhone. We're talking about a 36-year gap. Not even the iPhone of today. The iPhone from a couple of years ago will do fine. The IBM PC rated about 1 million instructions per second. The iPhone X, I can't even find a millions of instructions per second statistic on it. It's not a useful metric anymore. Maybe it's 300 million in some circumstances. The IBM PC had a central processor with 29,000 transistors. The iPhone X has 4.3 billion transistors in its CPU. The processing power, the storage capacity, both in the memory and long term, the displays are utterly different. Yes, it's all the same digital technology. Yes, they're all von Neumann machines. They're all Turing compatible. But my God, the capability of those things is several orders of magnitude more. And as every good business analyst learns in Business Analysis 101, when you change the technology, you get some benefits. A technology change does allow you to do the same things faster, the same things better, the same thing with fewer hands. But ultimately, when technology changes, if you want to get the full benefits, you need to change the process. When you go from one technology to another, your processes need to be updated as well if you are to get the full benefit that those technologies make possible. So this is the key thing. Agile is the process change that accompanies digital change. Agile started with software developers because the people who were writing software, the people who were working with the technology, they were the people who had the first early access to the digital tools we take for granted today. Email, instant messengers, voice over IP, wikis, websites, all of that. It was the people creating that, the software developers who had early access to it. And they invented, discovered, founded this new way of working we call Agile. And as digital tools permeate into other parts of the business life, Agile processes are more applicable. Agile processes are the changes you need to make to your processes when you digitize your business. If you want to be digital, you need to be agile. It's as simple as that. You cannot be a digital organization if you spend 3 months writing a requirements document, 2 months deciding on an outsourcer, 6 months building the thing, 3 months testing it, and another 3 months deploying it. That is not digital. Digital works at a far faster pace than our old IT departments. I want to take a pause here. I'm going to ask you to pause the video in a moment. I want you to have a think to yourself. When you talk about a digital company, when we talk about a Monzo Bank or an Uber Taxi or an Amazon.com, when you think of really digital companies who you admire, what are the attributes of those companies? What are the key things that make them digital in your opinion? So stop this video, think, write down 3, 4, half a dozen attributes of a digital company. I'll be right back. Right, got your attributes? I had to think too. And when I think about digital companies, I think about things like being quick at responding to markets, being obsessed with customers, empowering their staff, taking an experimental trial approach to things. These are all baked into Agile. These are all part of Agile. Empowered people, embracing change, reacting to market, customer session. They are all in the Agile playbook. If you go Agile, you get these things for free. There's a bunch of other things which Agile actually delivers. Things like exploiting technology, being data-driven, excellent operations. You can't have excellent digital operations if you're not Agile. You can't be truly data-driven if you spend months getting results. You need agile to be data driven. You can't exploit the full benefits of that technology if you're not agile. Product focused, I'm not sure whether that's part of agile or it's delivered by agile, but both agile and digital are focused on the products. Products, not projects. So ultimately, digital demands agile. If you want to be digital, you have to be agile. So here's the summary for your decision makers. There's lots of good reasons there on the left why you might want to be agile. Predictability, cost savings, increased return, reduced risk, etc., etc. But there's one overwhelming reason that wasn't there 20 years ago and wasn't even there 10 years ago, and that's digital. Digital demands agile. The business case for being agile is simply, if you want to be digital, you need to be agile. One more thing before I finish. In your organization, who's driving the change to digital? Is it your Chief Technology Officer? Is it your CDO, whether that's a Chief Digital or Chief Data Officer? Or is it the CEO? Who high up there is saying we must be agile, we must be digital rather? Or is it COVID-19? I'm recording this in July 2020, and for most of the last 6 months, this little virus has wreaked havoc with the world and caused us to shut so much of it down. So much of the world has continued on the internet, in the digital sphere, in cyberspace. And because of this, COVID-19 has force-fed digital to the world for the last 6 months. I would go as far as to say COVID-19 has accelerated digital forward 5 or 10 years. Think about doctors. How often did they do an online video consultation before COVID appeared? But with their surgeries shut, the only way they can see patients is often over a digital link. So they've gone digital. Or think about judges. I find it hard to think of a profession that seems more old-fashioned, particularly here in the UK with judges who wear wigs. But even the Supreme Court in the US and the Supreme Court here in the UK, they've been hearing cases over digital links. What would it have taken? How long would it have taken to get judges and doctors to work digitally if it was not for this little virus? So COVID is driving digital and digital is driving agile, and that's why you want to be agile. Agile is the process change that accompanies digital. Yes, it also gives you ROI and predictability and all the rest of it, but overwhelmingly, if you want to be digital, you need to be agile. Thank you very much. I'm Alan Kelly. There's my website if you want to know more about me. Connect to me on LinkedIn, or better still, buy the books. Thank you very much.